What if a wealthy woman, after 15 years of searching, finally adopted a lost child only to uncover a flood of tears and a past so painful it would change both their lives forever? In the heart of a bustling city, 45-year-old Elena lived alone in a sprawling mansion perched high on a hill, its marble floors gleaming under chandeliers but echoing with an empty silence. Her wealth came from a family empire of hotels and restaurants that stretched across the country, yet it couldn't fill the void in her heart. She longed for a child to call her own. 15 years ago, during a visit to a crowded market, she spotted a small boy, no older than 5, wandering lost amid the chaos, clutching a worn teddy bear and crying for someone who never came. She rushed to help, her voice cutting through the noise as she alerted the police. But before they arrived, the crowd swallowed him whole, leaving her with a haunting image she couldn't forget. That moment stuck with her, a quiet promise to find him driving her every day since. Elena threw herself into charity work, building orphanages and schools, her wealth a tool to search for that lost child, though she never spoke of it aloud. Each night, she sat by her wide window, gazing at the city lights below, wondering if he was out there, hungry or scared. The mansion felt like a cage, its luxury cold and lifeless without the sound of a child's laughter. Friends urged her to adopt, to move on, but she couldn't. Her heart was tied to that fleeting memory of a boy with a teddy bear. Little did she know, the universe was weaving their paths back together, a reunion waiting just beyond the horizon, ready to turn her empty home into something full of life and love. On a rainy afternoon, Elena stepped into one of her orphanages, her arms full of gifts for the children huddled inside. The room buzzed with shy smiles and soft chatter, but her eyes caught on a tall teenager with dark hair and a familiar tilt to his head, Marco, now 20 years old, standing quietly by the wall. The orphanage staff shared his story. He'd been found 15 years ago in that same crowded market, abandoned and clutching a tattered teddy bear, the very one Elena remembered from her fleeting encounter. Her heart raced as she asked to meet him, her wealth fading into the background as a wave of hope washed over her. Marco approached, his eyes cautious, but when she pulled out an old photo from her purse, the market scene she'd kept all these years, his face softened. "That's me," he whispered, tears glistening as recognition dawned. They sat together for hours, the rain tapping the windows, as Elena learned of his tough journey through foster homes, his voice trembling with memories of hunger and uncertainty. She shared her side, how she'd searched for him, her charity work a silent quest to find that lost boy. A fragile bond sparked between them, his guarded nature meeting her gentle persistence, and Elena knew this was more than a coincidence, it was destiny. She saw the same vulnerability in his eyes that she'd seen all those years ago, and though he didn't say much, the way he held on to that photo told her he felt it too. In that moment, her empty mansion felt closer to becoming a home, and she resolved to bring him into her life, no matter what it took. Elena wasted no time, using her resources to navigate the tangled web of adoption laws, her determination fueled by the chance to give Marco the family he'd never known. Months later, he stepped into her grand mansion, his worn sneakers scuffing the polished marble floors, his wide eyes taking in the chandeliers and vast rooms with a mix of awe and unease. She welcomed him with a warm hug, promising a fresh start, her wealth now a tool to heal his past rather than define her. But Marco struggled to settle in. Years of bouncing between foster homes had left him guarded, unsure of trust. He spent days in his new room, clutching the tattered teddy bear he'd kept all these years, its frayed edges a link to the boy he once was. Elena gave him space, cooking his favorite meals, adobo and rice, and leaving little notes of encouragement on his desk, her voice soft when she checked on him. Slowly, he began to open up, sharing stories of cold nights and empty stomachs that brought tears to her eyes. One evening, over a quiet dinner, he asked, "Why me?" His voice shaky, and she reached across the table, holding his hand. "Because I saw you that day in the market and never stopped looking," she said, her own eyes wet. That moment broke a wall between them, his guarded heart softening as he nodded, accepting her love. The mansion, once a lonely shell, started to feel like a home, filled with the tentative steps of their growing bond. Elena knew the road ahead would be tough, with his past pain lingering, but she was ready to walk it with him, turning her wealth into a bridge toward a family forged in patience and care. As the months rolled by, Marco began to find his place in Elena's mansion, his confidence growing as he attended school and joined her in charity work, handing out supplies to kids who reminded him of his younger self. Yet, the shadows of his past lingered, waiting to surface. One rainy afternoon, while sorting through old boxes in the attic, he stumbled upon a yellowed newspaper clipping tucked inside a book, a story about a missing child from 15 years ago, lost after a car accident that claimed his parents. The photo was him, a tiny figure with a teddy bear, and the words hit him like a wave: his family was gone, leaving him alone in that market. Marco sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, the tears pouring out as years of buried pain broke free. Elena rushed in, wrapping her arms around him, her own eyes filling as she read the article and understood the depth of his loss. He clung to her, whispering memories of his parents' laughter, now tinged with a grief he'd never fully faced. Together, they decided to visit the old neighborhood where the accident happened, laying flowers at a quiet roadside memorial, the rain mixing with their tears. Marco's emotions spilled over: anger at the unfairness, sadness for what he'd lost, and a raw gratitude for Elena's love. Each cry was a step toward healing, his guarded heart opening wider. Elena, moved by his courage, vowed to be the mother he'd missed, her wealth now a means to honor his past. The mansion, once a symbol of her loneliness, became a sanctuary where they faced his pain together, turning tears into a bond that grew stronger with every shared moment. Today, the mansion that once echoed with silence now hums with life as Elena and Marco build a family rooted in love and resilience. Marco, now 21, has graduated high school with Elena's unwavering support, his dreams of becoming a social worker taking shape as he volunteers at her charities, helping lost kids find hope just like he did. The rooms, once cold and empty, are filled with his laughter and the occasional tear, a reminder of the journey they've shared. One evening, while watching old home videos of their first awkward hugs and shared meals, Marco breaks down again, not from pain, but from the overwhelming love he feels, his tears glistening as he turns to Elena. She wipes them away, smiling through her own, and says, "You're my son, and we'll face everything together," sealing their bond with a promise. Elena's wealth, once a hollow crown, now fuels a mission to expand her orphanages, inspired by Marco's story, reaching more children in need across the country. They visit his parents' memorial each year, laying flowers and talking about the future, turning grief into a legacy of care. Marco's teddy bear sits on a shelf, a symbol of their beginning, while the mansion transforms into a warm home where past wounds heal. Their story shows that family isn't just blood, it's the choice to love through tears and triumph, proving that even the deepest scars can mend with a willing heart. As they sit together, planning his next step toward helping others, their journey ends here, a beacon of hope for anyone who's ever felt lost. It reminds us all that love, not wealth, builds the strongest bridges, leaving a legacy that touches hearts of every age. If this heartfelt story warmed your soul, like, comment, and share it with others. Subscribe to Human Fables for more inspiring true tales that connect us all.